half a century, human beings have been actively launching spacecraft and satellites into space, often without considering what happens to the remaining debris or how to remove inactive satellites from crowded orbits. This impressive density of objects in low Earth orbit, as well as the accumulating amount of inactive satellites in space, leads to an increased risk of collision between them. Considering that the satellites travel at high speeds of 28,000 kilometers an hour, collision with these space objects, despite their small size, can cause severe damage due to the impressive velocity.
Two objects, when they collide in space with very high velocity, can create a lot of more debris. And these pieces of debris become like bullets flying around in space, which can eventually hit anything that is flying in outer space.
While the general public may have heard of the issue of space debris only recently, the threat of collisions has already led the International Space Station to change its orbit twice in order to avoid debris. So astronauts working in space are affected by the danger of collisions, but also by active satellites, responsible for the regulation of much of our navigation and communication systems.
The European Union and the European Space Agency play a vital role in developing deorbit and space debris mitigation technology, both for European spacecraft and spacecraft developed by other countries across the world.
For example, one of our projects, the Orbit Sail, which is funded by the EU, the Commission, is looking at techniques to put very large ultralight structures, like solar sails, to remove pieces of space debris in a very passive manner. So you use drag to remove it. However, Europe has a number of leading technologies and institutions. We can bring strong capabilities together, and it can possibly take a lead in this area. It is, in one sense, an opportunity for Europe.
If we can develop technology which we can sell to other countries, then it's a bonus for the European industry.
The European Commission is committed to the funding of research projects aimed at the monitoring, mitigation and removal of space debris to ensure our way of life, and also to ensure that those humans working in space are protected from such a real threat.
Mint az autók navigálása, vonatok vezetése, vagy légijárművek leszállása. Alkalmazott modern biztonságban és rengeteg különböző vagyunk navigálásához. A járművezetésben összesen 30 millió motoráig, amelyek a földkörülmények bajban vezetnek, a motorszövetségi fontos meghatározására.
Satellites collect a vast amount of data from space, but space missions take a long time and a lot of money to get off the ground. And once the collected data reaches the scientists behind those missions, it can happen that the data is still not easily exploitable or usable by other researchers who miss out on this potential know-how of accumulated knowledge. Often collected in raw status, the data needs to be processed, indexed and archived in order to become valuable and meaningful information to the scientific community at large.
So definitely an infrastructure is needed in Europe to support the accumulation of space data and its exploitation in the long term. In the long term means after 10, 20 years as minimum. And this is what we are now establishing with the research project. We demonstrated that such an infrastructure is feasible from the technical point of view, and also is very beneficial for the community.
Europe has the ability, has the power, the intellectual power to be very autonomous in this field, and I think it's very important for us to be autonomous in this field because we have the potentiality to do this.
ULIS is one of the space projects funded by the European Commission under the 7th Framework Programme for Research. The EU is fully committed to supporting a wide range of research programs in order to ensure the exhaustive exploitation of valuable space data, which will not only allow for better understanding of our own planet, but aim at contributing to higher protection of our society against potential threats from space in the long term.
Egy órás csak a felvétel volt neki szélről, csak vagy nem volt megosztva. Most kétletes. Tisztelt Hölgyeim és Uraim, kedves vendégeim! Az elkövetkező 15 percben Kákonyi Gábor a Geoid Térinformatikai Kft-től fog nekünk tartani a nagyon érdekes előadást, utána pedig lehet folytatni nyugodtan a kiállításnak a felfedezését. Át is adom a szót Kákonyi